Welcome back to another video. I'm Wesley, this is Starseed Fitness. In this video, I'm going to be detailing my first LSD experience. And this was, I'm not trying to exaggerate at all when I say that this was a life-changing experience for me. One of the biggest events of my life, because it forever changed how I viewed the world and the values with which I conduct myself and what I believe reality to be. It shook up all those things and changed them. So I will always be thankful to LSD for doing that and really steering my life into the direction that I'm going now. But let's just get into it. So I really had never really had many drug experiences. Obviously coffee, stuff like that, like I know coffee's not a drug, but it is a drug. But I've had stuff like that, drank and everything, but I never had a psychedelic experience. And I really gotten into Joe Rogan's podcast. And he's a big proponent of psychedelics, obviously the shirt. He's a big proponent of psychedelics and their benefits and how they use them properly. And I admire Joe Rogan. I admire the way he conducts himself, the way he thinks, the manner in which he lives his life. So I wanted to structure my life in some ways similar to him and kind of copy some of the things he does, and maybe I get a little bit of the rub, and start kind of understanding myself more and life more. So I wanted to have a psychedelic experience because he talked about how much of a benefit it was and how it's impacted his life so much. And I was like, man, I want to have that experience. When I kind of researched a little bit, this will become obvious towards the end of the story. No, I didn't research a lot. I just kind of looked at a few of other people's experiences, and it seemed just fascinating to me. And I had this desire to just understand what it was like. Like, what is this thing that they're talking about? Like, what happens when you take it? How does the world change? I really just wanted to understand, and I wanted to have this potentially life-changing experience. So, I didn't know how to get LSD. I have no idea, none. But I have some hippie friends. So I went to California for some of my friends' wedding, and they knew where to get LSD. So I made a deal with my friend who love him to death, but they were not super well educated on how to safely use LSD, and especially not for someone who is doing it for the first time. They'd already had that experience. They've done it before. I had not. And my friend, I really, as much of a hippie as I like to think that I am, I really don't smoke weed that much. It's just not really my thing. I've never really enjoyed it. And my friend is a big weed smoker. So she made a deal with me that she will get me acid if I do a dab. So already you can see this is a stupid idea, a stupid deal to make, and I didn't understand enough about drugs at that point to understand, how high you can get. I hadn't really smoked weed much. I didn't know what happens when you get that high. I didn't understand LSD. So in my mind, I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. I've drank, I've gotten super drunk, and stuff like that. So I can handle my shit. I've never gone crazy, from being really drunk or something. So yeah, sure, deal. I want to have this LSD experience, so it seems like a fair trade-off. It's maybe a group of 4, I think. Yeah, me and 3 of my friends. We get this LSD. They're on a sugar cube. It's like a LSD liquid onto a sugar cube. And I've actually never had it this way ever again. It was just a really interesting way. I kind of liked it. But we decided we want to go to the beach, and it's kind of dusk out. It's starting to get dark. So oh yeah, it'd be great to take LSD, chill on the beach. It's gonna be a great time. So we're walking to the beach, right? And it's a little ways away. It's a bit of a walk, but we got time, so it's fine. So we take half a sugar cube, all of us, and we continue walking. Maybe we walk for another 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And if I remember correctly, my one friend was like, no, whatever. I'll just take the rest of it. It's fine. And I was like, yeah, sure, it's fine. I'll take the rest of it too. So we all take the second half, right? So already I am making a mistake. I'm making a mistake. I don't know the dosage. It's my first time. You want to be very conservative. Now me looking at past me, I would have said, dude, don't even necessarily eat a half. Maybe just take a little nibble off of it and see what happens, and then go a little bit more and ease into this mind-blowing experience. But I didn't do that. So I take that second half, and then we keep walking for a little bit. I guess kind of sidebar, not important to the main story, but like I was getting cold. I didn't realize that the beach would be that cold at night. And I go into this little store. I get a sweatshirt that's really big. It's really comfortable. And then I was like, okay, this is great. Okay, we're doing this. It's going well. I'm waiting for it to kick in. And then my friends wanted to use the bathroom, and there was this little place close to where they had these shops that had some bathrooms. So use the bathroom, come back out, just kind of standing there waiting for the rest of my friends, and there's like just a little bit away from the bathroom, there's this kind of display where it's got a bunch of lights, like kind of like Christmas looking lights, that type of vibe. And I remember kind of looking up at it, and I think it had just started taking effect a little bit. It was kicking in a little bit, and I was looking at those lights, just kind of like, there's something different about it. Like, I don't quite, it's very hard to perceive, but there's just something a little different about it. And I kind of took note of that. But that was kind of it. It was very, very light. This has just started to come up. And then my friends come, we continue on to the beach, we're walking for a little bit, and it starts, kicking in a little bit more. And it's still early on, so it's nothing's strong or anything really. And I remember walking towards the beach. Now we're pretty close, and there was like a little wooden pathway, I guess, that led to the beach. And as I'm walking over this wood pathway, I'm looking down at it, and the wood is just like, it's amazing. It's incredible. It's beautiful. I see the patterns of the grooves in the wood, and it just has this incredible, almost not even real animated look to it. And I just was looking at it like, wow, this is amazing. Like, this is beautiful. And keep in mind, I'm feeling really good at this point. Like, there's no anxiety, there's no restlessness. I feel great. This seems wonderful. The wood is beautiful. It's perfect right now. And we make our way to the beach. We all kind of, get there and sit in a circle a little way away from the water. And, everyone's still kind of coming up. Nothing's too strong. So we're just talking. And my friends' cousins who have the weed, the dabs specifically, meet us at the beach. So then they're there. And they start doing dabs. They are professional weed smokers. So they're doing dabs and all that. And then my friend does a dab. And then, she's like, okay, your turn. Which, already now, I think if you've ever smoked weed on a psychedelic, you can see kind of where this is going. At the time, I did not know that weed potentiates psychedelics. If you take one hit of weed on almost any dose of psychedelics, it can just shoot you into another dimension. And that's just like one hit of normal weed. So a dab on LSD for my first time is not a good idea. But again, I don't know. Like, I did not do my due diligence. I was an adult. Right? So I should have done my due diligence, but it's just the education, it was not something I was really aware of. I thought you just kind of take drugs and just kind of roll with the experience. So, lesson in that. If you're new to psychedelics, or maybe your first time, or you haven't done them very much, really do your research on dosage. Do them in a safe space, not on a public beach for your first time, with other people. There wasn't really many people on the beach, but just in the general area. And don't smoke weed, especially first time. Maybe fifth time, maybe 10th time. At soonest. But not your first time, for sure. Don't do that. But I did, right? I took a dab, and I couldn't take the whole dab. I took as much as I could, which was like already way too much. Just coughed and coughed and coughed and coughed and coughed and coughed and coughed. And then finally, like, the coughing kind of subsides. The coughing had distracted me a little bit because I was kind of focused on like, oh my God, I feel like I'm dying, because I'm just coughing so much. It distracted me a little bit, and then when I stopped coughing, we're all still sitting in a circle, right? I started to become aware of the headspace that I'm in, or I should say, like, the space that my head was in, like outer space, like just everything was just amplified times 1,000. And I remember this so vividly and so specifically that I'm sitting on the sand, right, cross-legged, and all of a sudden I feel like I am lifting off the sand. I mean, I swear to God, if I would not have had my eyes open, I mean, kind of looking at my body sitting on the ground, I would have sworn I was levitating. I mean, I just feel like my soul, my spirit start levitating, just rising up. And I feel like I'm hovering, maybe like this much above the sand, maybe like 8 inches above the sand. And it's just like, whoa, wow, I haven't experienced something like this before. Alcohol does not do anything like this. So I'm sitting there, feel like I'm levitating, and and again, at this point, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fine. There's no anxiety. I'm just more in awe and wonderment of what's happening. And I hear this buzzing noise. I like zzz, just like that. And I was like, oh, where's that buzzing noise coming from? And I kind of like look around, and I can hear my friends' voices because we're sitting in a fairly tight circle on the beach, and I hear my friends' voices, but it sounds like it is way over there. It sounds like it's real far away. It's like super distant. I can hear their voices, and I'm not picking up a word they say. I just know that they're speaking, and I hear the sounds, but my brain is not even paying attention to it. So I'm kind of looking for this buzzing sound. And I look up and kind of over, a little bit past, maybe 20, 30 feet away. And there was one of those beach chairs. I don't know if you've ever seen on beaches. They'll have these like really big chairs that you can like sit 3 people on it. It's just like this huge chair that's like super wide and really tall. And I see this chair. And this chair is like nothing I've ever seen. I mean, it's just beautiful. It's a white chair, but it has this beautiful pink tint to it. And I can hear and in some sense see the molecules that make up this chair. I can see those vibrating, and I can hear the vibration. And that's the buzzing sound, is the vibration, the frequency that it is emitting. And it's got the beautiful pink, purplish tint to it. And I just remember looking at it, just be like, wow. And at this point, I wasn't really aware of the concepts of vibration and frequency and all those wonderful things. So I wasn't really thinking like, oh my God, I can see its vibration and hear its frequency. I was just thinking like, oh, that's like I can like see the molecules vibrating. Blew my mind. Like I can still remember that to this day. Then I kind of, shift my attention away from that, and my friends' voices are still really far away. It still sounds like they're really far away. And all of a sudden, I wouldn't say I come out of my body, but it feels like I do a loop. Like I just go like, whoop, and then I'm back in the same spot. But now I'm listening to my friends talk. And at first it was kind of like, well, what just happened? And then like my friends are talking, and like I feel like I know what they're saying. Like I feel like they've said this before. And I think I made a comment offhand where like, did any of you guys like had this exact conversation? And my one friend laughed. I kind of hear her laugh in the distance, even though she's like, a couple feet from me. And I was just like, I'm pretty sure that I like went back in time or something, and that we've already done this before. So then I don't even know how I was logical enough at this point to think this, but I was like, okay, if I have gone back in time and they have had this conversation before, I should be able to predict what they're going to say next. So I like was trying to focus and like, what are they going to say next? What are they going to say next? And I couldn't think of what they were going to say next, even though it felt like they had said it before. So I was kind of like, damn it, I don't think that I went back in time. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just on LSD. I don't know. But it was a really interesting feeling. And some more time goes by. I'm pretty sure my friend's cousins did more dabs, which I don't even understand how you can do that. But we talk and whatever, and then my friend's cousins took LSD and decided, okay, they want to go back to their apartment before it kicks in. So they head out. And we wait around a little bit more. And one of the other things I remember, I like looked off to the left towards the street. You know, there was a street a little ways away from the beach, and street lights. Kind of cars going back and forth. And I remember looking at it, and it looked animated. It looked like I was in a video game or something like that. And I remember looking at the street lights and the cars. I was like, oh my god, this is just like GTA. Like it literally, it was like GTA 5. I don't even know if GTA 5 had been released at that point. Maybe, yeah, I think it had been, but it looked like GTA 5 to me, and it just seemed like I was in this video game, and that all of this was just kind of a game, and I was kind of getting a chance to see what really is happening here. And at this point, I also was not aware of like simulation theory. I don't think it was super popular at the time. I wasn't aware of these different things, and now that I'm aware of it, I find it really interesting because I had that thought without the knowledge of that theory. So it kind of makes it seem like there's more to it. To me at least, it has kind of a personal connection where I was like, yeah, I think we are in like a simulation. I think this is kind of a game, but that's a different video. So I have that thought like, wow, it's super cool. It's like a video game, and I don't really feel bad at this point because we're all kind of chilling on the beach. Like I don't feel anxious. I don't feel much of anything. I'm pretty happy. Everything feels good, pretty calm, and then like all of a sudden everyone starts getting up. I think someone said like they're like, okay, we're gonna go back now to back to my friend's house. I don't think I really heard it, but I was just like, oh, I guess we're leaving. Okay, and we kind of get up and start walking. I'm in a different dimension. I'm in a different world. I don't really know what's going on per se, but I'm just kind of walking, and it makes me a little bit nervous when we get on to like more of the main part or the main walking area, because then people are passing by. Not a lot of people, but some people, and it starts making me a little bit nervous, and I can't really explain why. It just was making me nervous. I didn't quite like it. It felt a little off to me. So that starts triggering a little bit of paranoia. I'm a little bit scared. I'm just like, okay, like I'm not sure like what's completely going on here. And my friends, get in the car to go back. And I was like, I don't know if I trust this. Like they're on LSD. I don't know if they know like what they're doing or where they're going. Like I guess they could be trying to kill me. Maybe they're trying to like lure me back. I start having these like outrageous thoughts. Now, I'll say right now, I've done LSD many, 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 many times after that, after my first time. And I've never had this experience ever where I got like this paranoid. I've had a little bit of uncomfortableness and a little bit of paranoia, but I'm always able to just kind of bring myself back to center. Be like, okay, I know I'm on LSD and everything's really amplified right now, and I know I'm having these thoughts that are a little bit nervous about something, but it's okay. Just go with the experience. Open yourself up. Go with the experience. And I'm in a good setting usually, and so everything's okay. But this is my first time. I don't really know how to talk myself through difficult thoughts at this point because I don't have really much experience with it and I haven't had a chance to explore that area. So I didn't really know how to do it. I didn't know how to talk myself down. I kind of knew I was being irrational, but I almost couldn't help it to some extent. I just felt like it was unsafe for me to go with them. And not even necessarily so much that they were trying to kill me. I just felt unsafe to go with them. Felt like they were kind of messed up. Maybe they didn't know what they were doing, and it just didn't feel right to me. So I was like, no, I'm not coming with you guys. And they're just like, what? Like, we're going back to the house. Like, come on. I was like, no, I'm not going. And I'll kind of skip through. There was discussion, whatever. And finally they were like, okay, we're going back to the house. But let us know whenever you want to come. And I was just kind of like, okay. And I, kind of walk away. They leave. And I gotta be honest, like it's been long enough now that I don't remember a lot of what happened afterward. And I was so high that on marijuana specifically, like the LSD does not do this to me, but if I'm smoke weed, obviously short-term memory is a little bit rough. I can only imagine. I've never done a dab since then, but I can only imagine if I did a dab, it would just be like your mind just erases shit like 5 minutes after you do it. So I don't think I really remember extremely clearly everything that happened afterward. Not like a blackout, just like it's just all kind of like, I don't know. It's just kind of fuzzy to me. I have a general idea. I know I just started kind of walking for a little bit, and I didn't even really know where I was walking to. I was just walking, and I just, it was dark out, super dark. It's nighttime, and I'm by myself now in California, Los Angeles, specifically in one of the biggest cities in the world, or at the very least, the United States. I'm just kind of walking around, no real direction, and I keep coming to the same stoplight. Like I just like, oh, I think I've been here before, and I walk a little bit more, and then I come back to that, and I'm like, oh, I think I've been here before, And I kept, now I understand that I kept walking in circles. I would like, walk down a street, go one way, walk down a street, go one way, a little short loop, and I would just keep going around and around and around. I don't know why. I guess at that point I was not really thinking very clearly, so I just kept going the same way. Because, I guess each time I got there, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go this way. Makes sense. Then I come there again, I'm going to go this way. Makes sense. Argument for determinism, like in the absence of me really thinking through things, I just kept making the same decision over and over again. But finally, I just kind of got frustrated. I was like, I don't feel like I'm not really getting anywhere. So at this point, I think it's best if I just, ride it out. Because I was aware that I was very high and I was on LSD, so that I'm not like going to be super sharp. I'm not going to be really mentally dialed in right now. So I figured it was best. I was like, you know what? I'm having problems really doing much or navigating. So I'm just going to sit on a bench. I'm going to wait until I feel more sober, and then I will figure out what's going to happen. So that's pretty much what I did. I have no idea how long I was on the bench for. All of this seemed like it was super, super long, but I don't think it was actually that long, to my knowledge. I don't completely know. But a little decent amount of time passed, and finally, I kind of felt a little bit more clear. So I, got my phone out, I got an Uber back to my friend's place, and just kind of proceeded to have a conversation. Like, dude, you would not get in the car, and like we didn't know what to do, and I was like, I know, didn't trust you guys, it felt a little bit weird, didn't think it was right, couldn't do it, all's well that ends well. And I say that, but it was not a really good situation. It was, personal responsibility, extreme ownership. I failed myself. I did not do the proper research before I took it. I did not do it in a safe setting. Setting are very important. You want to do it in a space that you're very familiar with. You know your way around. You feel very comfortable and relaxed in. Mindset. I don't know. I didn't set an intention for it. There was no reason for it other than I just kind of did LSD, and I honestly did the opposite of all the things that should be done, especially for someone's first time. After someone gets more experienced, these can be a little bit more malleable. You don't have to adhere to as strict of guidelines, although there still are some guidelines that are important. But I kind of did everything wrong. And even though the experience, like, I would never want to take that experience away from me. I'm so happy and I'm so thankful for that experience. It truly changed my life. It changed the way about what I believed in. It really made me go on this journey of self-discovery where I've found infinite layers of happiness and love that I didn't know were possible within myself. And I'm being very, very sincere when I say that. This changed my life in a very, very positive way. And I'm so incredibly happy and thankful for that experience. But that experience could have gone wrong. It could have gotten a lot worse. Things could have really gone wrong. Especially, maybe I was by myself and someone mugged me or like robbed me, or you never know, right? So it was not a good. It was not a good situation. The result was wonderful and was beautiful, and I'm happy. But I kind of wanted to make this video just to, tell the story of the first time I took it, but also, give a little drug education, I guess, to someone who maybe isn't as experienced or is thinking about doing it for their first time. Really, the best advice I could give: be in a safe place. So whether that's your house, your apartment, friend's house, be in a safe space that you know very well, and stay in that space. You don't have to go wandering out. Maybe towards the end of the experience, like if LSD, maybe hour 7, go outside, walk around, enjoy the beauty of nature. But maybe the first time, do it in a safe space. Do it with someone you trust. And when I say someone you trust, I mean don't not like an acquaintance of someone you talk to and have fun with sometimes. I mean someone who's like your ride or die friend, your ride or die partner. Do it with them. Do it with someone that if you do something weird, you don't feel self-conscious about it, right? That's really important, because if you do LSD, you might, especially your first time, you might say some weird shit or do some weird shit. So you want to be around someone that you're comfortable doing that. And I think it's good to have someone there that has done whatever one you're doing it. Someone who's done psychedelics, or something along those lines. You want someone who's experienced a psychedelic a few times at least to be with you, if possible. If not, then the same rules still apply. Do your best to be around people that you really trust. Setting an intention, super big. It's something I did not discover for a while. A lot of times with psychedelics, they give you what you need, but also they'll sometimes give you what you want, right? So it's very important. When you take a psychedelic, it's all this energy, all this this vibration, this energy that flows through you. So if you don't set a direction for that, of where you would like it to go, a lot of times it just starts getting crazy and kind of going everywhere. And you can't control the experience. I don't mean you're out of control. I mean, sometimes things come up in thoughts and stuff that you don't really have control over, because we're not really in control of our thoughts. We're not the driver of that, and it's more amplified on LSD. So it's not a matter of control, but just guiding of, okay, this is what I want out of this experience. And it can be, I just want to have a happy, fun time with my friend, my partner. Or maybe you're trying to really dig deep within yourself. Maybe you want to, work through some childhood trauma, or you're just wondering how you can be a better person. So set an intention where, like, I want to think about and really dissect how I can be a better person. It's something I would recommend. No matter what I'm doing a psychedelic for, I always have the same list of questions. At the very least, I ask all these questions. How can I improve? What am I doing wrong right now? Like, what is holding me back from whatever I'm trying to do? How can I be a better person in my relationships? So that pertains, I'll go through, like, how can I be better with my family? How can I be better with my girlfriend? How can I be better with my friends? And how can I be better even, like, with work? And I go through all these things and ask all these questions and really allow myself to dive into it and dissect it. It doesn't have to be the 3-hour thing. It can even just be 5 minutes. You kind of run through these questions real quick, think about a few things, and just see what pops up, see what answers you get. And don't smoke weed. Your first time, at least, I would recommend doing psychedelics at least 10 times, like minimum, before you smoke weed on a psychedelic. And even then, when you do, smoke it on the very tail end of the trip. It really, I cannot stress this enough, even a small amount of weed really amplifies the experience. So you want to be able to be a little bit familiar with the psychedelic experience before you dive into really amplifying it up. Start with a small dose too. I'm telling you, half tab, of LSD, maybe even a quarter, but a half I think would be a pretty safe dose. With mushrooms, maybe do a half gram, maybe a gram, and then each time you can work your way up a little bit. Maybe do 3/4 of a tab, and then do 1.3 grams. And see how that feels, and just get familiar with the space and ease your way into it. Trust me, there's no rush, and you will get more out of these experiences if you do it this way. Because if you just get hammered with these huge experiences that you're not familiar with and you don't know how to navigate through these worlds, you could really kind of cheat yourself of gleaning a lot of amazing information and insight. So those are the main things. Maybe I'm forgetting a few things, but that's kind of the general guidelines. Has some fresh fruit too, pro tip. But that's it. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate all the support on the channel very much. I hope you guys have a great week and a great new year.